Welcome to Discipleship through Companionship, how Prepares bridges life and justice through relationships. I'm one of your hosts, Aleah Patulot, the Director of Prepares in Western Washington. You will also hear today from Syndee Sauceda Cavazos, Prepares Director in West Central Washington, and Program Manager Ellie Toone and Director Lisa Green, both from Eastern Washington. Together, we are your Catholic charity staff who lead Prepares statewide. We will share a brief overview of Prepares, pregnancy and parenting support, our current activities and ministry updates. Then we'll switch gears and take some time to explore how we as Catholics are called to discipleship through ministering to those who are poor and vulnerable. We'll share how Prepares offers the opportunity to practice discipleship through companionship, walking side by side with the moms, dads, children, and families we serve, and end with some ways you can join us in honoring the gift of life as a disciple yourself. Thank you again for joining us today. Let's get started.
My name's Lisa Green. I'm in Spokane, Washington, in Eastern Washington, and I am the Prepares Area Regional Coordinator for Eastern Washington, and also the Program Director for CAPA, which is the program that Prepares was modeled after. In 2014, the bishops of Washington State created an initiative called Prepares, Pregnancy and Parenting Support. This initiative would be a statewide approach to serving families through parishes, Catholic entities, Catholic hospitals, schools, bringing a collective and compassionate Catholic community together to serve families. In 2014, at the very first Cornerstone Conference, the Prepares ministry was launched. From that time, we have brought on board 177 of the 309 parishes. Just in 2020, we served over 8,000 families through providing diapers and baby showers, family companions, working with fathers through the Fatherhood Projects. We have created a statewide program that truly embraces what the bishops asked for. This is an approach that we honor those that have chosen life by walking alongside them, journeying with them as they go through their parenting journey. It is an honor to be a part of this ministry. It is an honor to have been part of the creation, implementation, and continued support of this beautiful ministry. Thank you for being here today to learn more about the Prepares ministry, and I hope you enjoy our workshop.
Whenever I'm training new volunteers and describing the vision for Prepares, one of my favorite things to point to is how Prepares, the vision for Prepares and the goal of Prepares is that anywhere in Washington State, when a woman who finds herself pregnant and needing help, or a family that's struggling with their young children and providing for them, that the dream of Prepares is that they can walk into any of their local parishes, any Catholic church in their community, and know that they're going to be loved and welcomed, that they're going to be received with a loving embrace, and that they're going to be offered the material needs that they have, or the material things that they need to make it work and to be able to care for their children, and just to be affirmed and uplifted in their choice to parent their children, and through what is always a hard time, young parenthood. 2021 ushered in Prepares' first statewide fundraising initiative, the Valentine Appeal, established by the bishops of Washington. The Valentine Appeal allowed Catholics from all corners of the state to learn about Prepares and to place their financial support behind this vibrant pro-life program that nurtures a healthy, loving home environment for every baby. By establishing the Valentine Appeal for Prepares, the bishop's goal that every parish community in Washington is able to welcome and walk with local pregnant women and young families in need can be realized. The Valentine Appeal is coming back in 2022, and we hope we can count on your support to grow Prepares' life-changing, life-giving ministry.
My name is Syndee Sauceda Cavazos. I'm a program manager of the Prepares program, a program of Catholic Charities serving Central Washington. In our mission, it's of most value to serve the most marginalized. And in this segment, I would like to share with you how we unpackage this mission. We are all called, make no mistake, we are all called to discipleship. In the letter from our bishops entitled, "Who is My Neighbor?" Bishop Joseph Tyson writes, "When we stop and look into the face of poverty, we recognize the poor. We recognize they are not strangers. They are our sisters and brothers, members of our human family. Those in our cities and towns who lack the most basic necessities of life, food, housing, and basic healthcare, remind us that when our neighbors are hungry, cold, sick, and unprepared to share fully in the life of our community, it is more than an economic challenge." There's a difference between informational and transformational discipleship. Transformational discipleship is centered on experiencing God in everyday life. And I think that's what our bishop's letter provides us, a call to action, a call to a more transformative discipleship.
My last pregnancy ultrasound, they found out something was wrong with her kidneys, but I was told everything was going to be fine as soon as she's born. When she was 12 days old, we went to the ER because Iris wasn't looking right. They told us we have to admit her to Seattle Children's because something was wrong because the way she was born of her kidneys. And they're like, you know what, Iris is very sick. We have to induce her to coma. We have to do a blood infusion. We need to do everything possible, make her everything we can in our hands for her to survive. It was really darkest place for us. Before we never thought that we needed help, that we needed at least emotional help, we needed support. That's when Siri came up to our lives, and Siri has changed our life. She's been helping me since the day I met her.
What I feel I can offer to our families is compassion, a listening ear. I always pray for them. And I feel that I can help them sometimes. They just don't know where to turn. And I can help them with resources. I can give them ideas that sometimes they have not yet thought of.
Every time when something goes wrong, every time when I get bad news, every time when Iris is gonna have a procedure or my other son gets sick, God sends her a message and say, hey, call Jessica because she needs you.
There's so many times with our families that something will happen, and I just know it's the Holy Spirit working, that He will give me the nudge to, maybe you should give somebody a call. Maybe you need to do this. And if I learn to follow those nudges, I find out that there was a reason for it.
Every time I need her, she calls me. She's like, hey, Jessica, I've been thinking about you. And I tell her I need prayers, and she prays for me. And just her simple prayer makes my heart feel better.
I do believe that we bring hope to life. I've tried to be encouraging to her. I was telling her, you can do this. And she said, nobody has ever told me that. All she heard was negativity. And I believe we can bring that positive hope to them.
Siri brought in a lot of light to our house, a lot of light. We were in a dark place, and Siri, as I told me the whole time, is like, do you want me to call you in the mornings, every morning or in the nights? And I tell her, whenever you want. And I'm like, because I think I need you almost every day. I need someone to talk to, someone I could bring out my feelings. And she is part of our family now. She came into our world just to make our lives better. Even if we're going through a hardest time with my daughter, Iris.
Washington State ranks 18th in the United States with a poverty rate of 12.2. That's nothing to be proud of. Being judged, put down, dismissed, feeling unloved and unwanted extends poverty to the soul. There are many myths about poverty. Let me tell you about Sarah. She and her partner have 4 children under the age of 12. She has done every kind of side job, from washing people's cars in their own driveways to making food to sell along with working her many shifts at a drive-through. Sarah explained the many details associated to her typical workday at this fast food restaurant and why she couldn't make it work. You see, getting back to a minimum wage job meant that she lost her food stamps and was now also paying a co-payment for childcare. After adding all of this up, including gas, to and from multiple school-age children to different schools, let's be clear, shift work means that there's no schedule. This all translated to just around a net paycheck of $280 after all of her basic needs were met. So let me say this again. That was $280 after all of her basic needs were met, just to keep her minimum wage job. Another misconception is that federal stimulus helps support, allowing them to catch up. And sadly, the truth is that every family that Prepare served last year conveyed using every single dollar towards basic needs because of the rising inflation. And finally, welfare benefits provide little motivation for people to move out of poverty. Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, otherwise known as TANF, is the nation's welfare program. In 2019, it served about 2 million people. That's just 5% of the roughly 40 million living in poverty. Only 1.6 million children received welfare in 2019. Most people think that TANF is the end all for the poor. Like they really enjoy living off this very limited assistance that is called temporary, because that's exactly what it is. It's not an isolated or a single situation. This is the rationale that many of our systems were created under. And as a result, it affects the poor and it becomes internalized as deficient. This is the case of a pregnant birth mother who has also chosen adoption. She has 2 jobs and recruits her 14-year-old niece to help her with her other children. And between these 2 jobs, sometimes she works 18 hours a day. She's taking online courses and is still grappling with the emotions related to this life-affirming pathway that undeniably is the most difficult decision she has ever had to make, all while expressing her shame in her inability to meet because she didn't have enough money and not enough money to wash her clothes for her appointment that day.
Discipleship through companionship is walking alongside someone as we are giving them part of ourselves, our heart. We evangelize through our actions, through being with someone, accepting them for who they are. And for preparers, that is walking alongside mothers and fathers and their children from the time of pregnancy all the way to the age 5.
Discipleship by definition, means to be a follower. And in this case, we are disciples of Jesus, disciples of Christ. And so when we think about, what does it mean to be a disciple through companionship? We think and we're inspired by how Jesus was a companion to us when he was on earth. So, what did Jesus do when he was here? He drew close to people who were on the margins. He entered into the suffering of others. He would spend time with lepers. He would heal the blind and the sick. And so when we talk about discipleship through prepares and companionship through prepares, we really mean coming alongside people who are struggling, who are being challenged with many different things, from being maybe alone, not having supportive family or friends, from making what might be a very difficult choice to have their baby without the support that anyone might want. Families that are broken, domestic violence, just poverty, maybe illness, and maybe, being a recent migrant. Those challenges are where we feel that Jesus would enter into today. And so in Prepares, we train and we empower our volunteers who wish to be companions to families like that, who are experiencing those difficulties and challenges, to enter in, to walk right next to them, and to reach out in healing, in compassionate presence, and above all, just in loving service as Jesus would. When I think about my own history as a parent, and who accompanied me, I have a long list of people that I can name. I can name my parents, my in-laws, my brother-in-law, and my sister-in-law, countless friends and family, my coworkers who put together a meal train, neighbors who would drop by and check to see if we needed anything. And I know that we are very blessed to have all of those things. And so those are just, when I think of who accompanied me in those years of early parenthood.
Companionship comes from the Latin term to break bread together. We know this as intimate and familial, as we break bread only with those whom we trust, whom we feel most at home with, do we not? When we have the opportunity to walk alongside someone in this way, sometimes only during critical moment in their life, other times for a season, it allows us to personalize that experience. And as a result, that person is able to take out what is most worrisome and heartbreaking for them. And that allows them to move forward. That can be transformational. This is what companions do. This is what they do across Washington State. It's what Elizabeth did for Mary, and that of Ruth and Naomi. And this, I believe, is our call to action to live out our faith. Let's think about this for one moment. I learned fearlessly the lessons of love, tenacity, the power of prayer through two key women, and many of them after. This made my hardship less difficult. How many do you think the women that we serve can count? This is our mission, to live out our faith in action through companionship. This is real discipleship.
When I think of companionship, I think of those that came alongside me as we were developing the program of Prepares, this beautiful ministry that is statewide. Sister Sharon Park is someone who companioned me with her guidance, her incredible belief in this statewide program, that we would create a standardized program that would honor those that had chosen life, and that we would journey alongside families in a standardized approach to support mothers and fathers during pregnancy and until their children reach stage 5. Others that have companioned me are those that I've learned leadership from: my mother, my grandmother. The unique piece of Prepares is what Prepares companions provide for the families they walk alongside is something that maybe those families don't have. And some of us have those. We have family. We have those that walk alongside with us as we're learning to be new parents. And the families we encounter and companions encounter in the Prepares program, they're looking for someone to journey with them, to be a companion, to love them for who they are, and to help them get through their parenting journey.
Why do this work, and why is discipleship important at all? I remember, when I first started in my career as a social worker, and eventually I made my way to working in a parish as an outreach coordinator in a Catholic parish. One day, a woman came to my office, and she was homeless, and she was looking for some soap and some lotion so that she could wash up. And I had little, kits in my office. And so I kind of showed her where they were. And she was rifling through the box of soaps and lotions. And she was just kind of chattering away as she was looking through the things, kind of absentmindedly talking with me. And she said, gosh, it's so hard to keep clean. I want to smell good, but I have to take sink baths, the Walmart bathroom, and describing what that's like. And then she started talking about how, she has to have boyfriends on the street to protect her because it's not safe to be a woman and homeless. And it's something that I see with moms in Prepares sometimes, our Prepares moms who just feel really vulnerable and maybe will date a man, even though he may not be a great to her, but it's just another person to help and be, there with her and with her family and to protect them. She went on, and she eventually shared with me this statement. I will never forget it. She said to me, I just can't wait for the day when I'm going to be able to take a shower in my own bathroom, and I'm going to be able to sit down at my kitchen table, and I'm going to be able to drink a cup of coffee. And she said to me, I can't wait to feel like a person again. That makes me cry every time I say that story. But there was just something about her poverty that made her feel less than human, that she lost her dignity. And that moment changed me forever. And it changed the way that I saw service. It really was one of the most human moments in my life. And I saw that my presence to her, it wasn't vital that I was there. It was that I was able to give her some soap one day. But being next to her and listening to her story and offering her warmth and acceptance, whatever her situation, I felt so strongly that that's what God is calling me to do. And that's what he's calling all of us to do. And that transformed me.
Family companions are volunteers who are trained and who meet weekly with a new parent. Sometimes it's as simple as sharing a cup of coffee, or maybe going to the laundromat, going to the grocery store. And when you're a single parent, it's hard to do some of these daily tasks when you face them alone. The Family Companion program was created to give parents who are alone someone who genuinely loves them unconditionally and wants to be with them and walk alongside them. Discipleship is about following in Christ's footsteps, serving others. When we serve others, we begin to build love within ourselves for our actions, and they see that. Evangelization through action is a powerful thing, and that is one of the greatest gifts that the Family Companion program offers.
Hi, I'm Ellie Toone, and I am an area coordinator for Prepares of Eastern Washington. I work here at Catholic Charities in the Kappa Prepares program in Spokane. So I started with Prepares in 2015, and we were sitting around the table trying to think of ways that we could serve families with a statewide focus. We decided that families need their basic needs met with diapers and clothes and urgent needs, and they also need emotional needs met. So they need to have companions, they need to feel loved and respected. Humans have a need for connection when they're born, and Prepares meets that need. That's what I love most about Prepares is the ability to walk with families in a deep, meaningful way. The family companion piece of Prepares is what speaks to my heart and pulls on my heartstrings the most, because it can be life-changing for these families and volunteers alike. There is a family companion match that was in Deer Park, Washington. This mother, actually, she was a parishioner, and she had an unexpected pregnancy. She was married and had 3 kids, and with this pregnancy, her husband decided that he was no longer available to be a part of the family, and he decided to leave, so she was scared. This mom has major health concerns, and so a pregnancy is very taxing on her body. It's very taxing normally, but for somebody with health concerns like her, it was very, very difficult. So she was faced with her husband leaving alone with 3 kids and feeling very desperate. She reached out to her parish and they matched her with a family companion. This family companion met with her via Zoom because it was during COVID, and phone calls and texts, and the family companion became an incredible support for this mom. The mom was being pushed for an abortion by friends and family. Friends and family were saying, "How can you have this child? You were so irresponsible," and just doing a lot of judging and shaming for this mom. And this mom knew that abortion was not a choice for her, so she was seeking adoption. And the family companion was able to come beside her and walk with her through the adoption process and sit with her when she was feeling terrible and sick and frustrated and alone. This family companion gave her a sense of belonging, which every human deserves to have that sense of belonging. So that was really beautiful to watch. And when the mother gave her child up for adoption, the family companion was there, walking beside her for the whole journey, and they are still in relationship. To have somebody come in and say, I'm not going to judge you, I'm here to support you, you're choosing life, and your life is important to me as a family companion, and you're very valuable, and you do belong. You belong in the hearts of our parish and the hearts of our community, and you're important. So that mom immediately felt valued and like she was worth something. And for the family companion, she had just this overwhelming sense of awe of this mom, of how strong this mom was to be able to choose something so difficult for her body, for her family, and carry this baby, and then also make the difficult decision to relinquish at the end of her pregnancy. That mom is a brave, brave mom, and this family companion was just in awe of how brave and strong she was. The mom is now back at work, and her kids are all in school. Their life was really, really in upheaval with this pregnancy, and just how difficult it was on the mom's body. She was very sick and bedridden for most of the pregnancy, and unable to work. After she had somebody come alongside of her, bring her a meal, talk with her at night, sometimes for 2 hours, just on the phone, just listening to all of the mom's stress, that mom felt like somebody was listening to me. And, when a mom's cup is full, you have way more to give your kids. Your cup's full so you can spill it over and give that love to your children. And so I'm sure her children felt that because the mom's cup was full. One of the things that I really love about Prepares is how parishes get involved, and it's so varied, depending on their community, the needs of the families living in the community, and the parishioners themselves, what they can help with. Some parishes can only support families with diapers and clothing, which is definitely needed and really important. Other parishes can take it further and support emotional needs by family companions. And baby events, baby showers, family events, open houses, Christmas parties, any kind of event that celebrates families, parishes can do. I love to see parishes start with diaper drives and it end with those relationship pieces. When they start handing out the diapers, and they're handing them out weekly or monthly, and they're seeing those faces come up to the table, and they're building relationship when they're handing out those diapers. And then maybe the mom or dad says, "I have a need. I'm lonely. Do you know of anybody I could talk to?" Then they move into it being a family companion. And it's hard to turn away somebody that you know already and you love, and you have a special spot in your heart for them. So you're definitely already captivated with this family through handing out diapers, and then you take it a step further and you accompany them through their parenting journey. And that's what's really exciting, to see that relationship grow, to see it become from just an urgent need to an emotional need, to something that's truly going to transform somebody's life. Having one person care about you and treat you with dignity and respect, non-judgmental support, is life-changing.
I would just hope to impart that discipleship is not some abstract word or concept, that it's really, truly a practice of becoming like the one who loves us and gave his life for us, so that we can in turn give our lives in service to others. And that commitment can look different. It can look, many different ways. And we can serve our communities in many different ways and serve our family members in different ways. But to recognize the humanity of the people we see or we don't see, the people on the side of the road, or an unborn baby, or the migrant, or a struggling family in our community, that by serving them, we can recognize their community, and then they can see in us and in our treatment of them a reflection of God's love for them and their worth and their value and their potential to grow and to thrive and to have a wonderful family life, a healthy family life. I think God entrusts us with this mission, and and then he sent Jesus to show us how to do it. So discipleship of Jesus is the way to go. And through Prepares, there are so many opportunities to do that. One is in companionship with parents who are struggling, but other ways are, volunteering to bundle diapers together, or to host a diaper drive or a clothing drive in a parish. There are so many ways that we can practice discipleship using the gifts and talents that God has given us. When our volunteers are spending time with families who are struggling so much with poverty or homelessness, or just really needing some emotional connection, that those experiences truly change and transform them. They transform them into the person that God made them to be. They really give us the chance to practice our discipleship, which again is a practice of becoming more like Jesus. That's one of the goals of Prepares. That's one of the goals of our life as Catholics and our life of faith.
The volunteers in our program, when we created this family companion piece, we were so excited about introducing them to the families. And the feedback we get from our family companions is they have changed their lives more than they ever thought that they would impact the life of a single parent. For most of us who may not have to make a choice between purchasing a gallon of milk or putting gas in our gas tank, we can buy our groceries and we can pay our mortgage. For the families that are part of the Prepares program, living in poverty is a very common characteristic of these families. The family companions get to encounter and know someone who is living in poverty, someone who's living a life that they would have never understood. And this is a gift. They truly say, this is a gift. I now can see someone differently. I used to think of poverty so different, and now I see that these families are working very hard to make the best life they can for their children, and they get to help and be along the way with them. Conversion of heart really speaks to the piece around sitting with someone who lives in poverty. It can be challenging for some of us who don't understand what it may be to be poor, or to have to make decisions with finances that people living in poverty may have to. A conversion of heart is when we start to understand what we never knew. We only know what we know. And when we can sit with and companion and walk alongside these families, we begin to see that people living in poverty are families just like ours. They may just have a certain set of problems that look a little different, but they're still amazing parents. They love their children just the same. They have hopes. They have dreams. They just maybe haven't had the support along the way to get to where they wanted to be. And our family companions get to journey along with them to support them in that. Through our faith, we are called to serve. And so these volunteers are called to serve because they want to be alongside another parent. Most volunteers are parents themselves. They know how hard it is to be a parent. And when you are called to serve someone, it is part of our faith. It's part of wanting to ensure that those that may not have the supportive family, extended family, that they have someone who can care for them and love them unconditionally.
Sacred Space was created during COVID. Once our volunteers learned that we were not able to remain in contact as we did normally because of COVID, we had to quickly make some decisions about how we would continue this ministry and program that is really rooted in relationships in order to continue to move the program and serve families. So we created Sacred Space as a way that all of our volunteers, regardless of where they were geographically, could come into a space and build community together, share their experiences, share the challenges. There's 3 components of Sacred Space that is offered every single month. There is our reflections, spiritual reflections that are used to unpackage conversations that allow community to be built in that space and time. Sacred Space is one of the elements that is really important for us in Prepares.
Well, it was wonderful to spend time with you today. We hope that now you feel excited and empowered about reaching out and serving your community through Prepares.
We have 177 out of the 309 parishes. Our goal is to have a Prepares ministry in every parish across the state so that no parent would go unserved. Please help us. Think about a financial support, prayer, becoming a volunteer. We can do this with the statewide efforts of all of you who are incredible parishioners in our parishes across the state of Washington, who care about families and want families to be successful and be supported. If you would like to learn more about Prepares, please visit our Prepares website, preparesforlife.org. Additionally, on the website, there is a way to sign up for newsletters. You can receive all 3 newsletters across the state if you choose, or if you just want one in your own diocese. You can also sign up to be a volunteer. You can see some of our videos, join some Facebook pages. We hope that you were inspired by the stories you heard today, and that the ministry of Prepares is something that is in your hearts, and that you will choose to answer the call and come and serve in a Prepares ministry in your parish. Thank you.